Kia ora and welcome to Cinema in Context, where we discuss all things film and the connections between. My name is Jeremy Downing.
I'm Sarah Watt.
And I'm William Chen.
And each month at Cinema in Context, we discuss two films, one current and one retrospective, with some connection. They could be the same director, the same actor, or a similar theme. This month we are discussing Mission Impossible Fallout, which came out this year, and Top Gun, which came out in 1986, and the connection being that they are both films led by Tom Cruise, that old Hollywood star. So, should we start with Top Gun? William, give us a bit of an overview of Top Gun.
Yeah, of course. Would be my pleasure. But I guess what is Top Gun anyway? I mean, the film explains it quite succinctly. On March 3rd, 1969, the United States Navy established an elite school for the top 1% of its pilots. Its purpose was to teach the lost art of aerial combat and to ensure that the handful of men who graduated were the best fighter pilots in the world. They succeeded. Today, the Navy calls it Fighter Weapons School. The flyers call it Top Gun.
Great, well, that's Top Gun. And Mission Impossible Fallout, it is the sixth film in a series that started in 1996. And I think it was sort of a return to form in terms of the television series when J.J. Abrams brought out Mission Impossible 3, bringing back the team aspect, which the first film had so famously sort of taken and shuffled up and changed up. So they sort of returned to that in 2005, I think the third film came out. Yeah. And then they've had Brad Bird jump in, they've had this new director, and I forget his
Christopher
name.
McQuarrie?
Yes.
Oh, is that...
Yeah.
He's done 5 and 6.
Yes, so he's jumped in, he's sort of seeing these films, I suppose, now, overlooking them. And yeah, Tom Cruise is on another mission with his crew, plutonium's involved, and many explosions and car chases and lots of fun.
And lots of mask revealing ensues.
I have to say, just to kind of get straight into it, and there will be spoilers in this discussion today, people, so if you are spoiler averse to these films, please pause this podcast and come back to us at a later date. But what I will say is that I one of the things that frustrated me as a youngster was in the second movie how ridiculous the mask pulling was and how fantastic the masks looked. I mean, it was, they're just the actors playing themselves, but it sort of seems all a bit ridiculous. But I do kind of love that these new movies have just still gone with that.
Yes.
And that's just an accepted part of the world.
Yes.
That people can wear masks and
get away with it.
Whereas the first movie, Tom Cruise wears a mask and he very clearly looks like he's wearing a mask.
Yes.
Yeah.
But then, as you say, in the second one, when Dougray Scott is pretending to be Ethan Hunt, it works absolutely brilliantly. Look, you say what you like about MI2. I'm going to lay my cards on the table. I know that is not the most popular of the 6 MI films, and it is far from being my favourite. But I got to tell you, we went and we rewatched that the other day, knowing that John Woo had directed it, and having recently seen Face Off, and we were a little bit like, bring on the doves. And sure enough, in the third act, there is that wonderful slow-mo of... there's a lot of slow-mo, isn't there? All John Woo movies, but there's that wonderful slow-mo of Ethan Hunt coming, rounding a corner, slow motion, and then doves that happen to be in the middle of some tunnels, rather like in North Head, fly up, and there's explosions and everything else. I've got quite a lot of time for that one, I have to say.
Maybe I should go back and rewatch it.
You should. So many masks.
I know.
Yes, that's
the guy
right.
who's like, he's like on the ground, he's got a duct tape over his mouth.
Oh,
and
that's
he's like,
brilliant.
But
that's brilliant. Why isn't he crying out? So, before we launch into, obviously, a detailed analysis, and an incredibly insightful one, no doubt, with Top Gun, I do think that the Mission Impossible franchise is fascinating because, as you'll be well aware, the first one was directed by Brian De Palma, so there's a whole style coming at it. Second is John Woo, whole different style. The third was Brad Bird, is that right?
No, J.J. Abrams.
Third is J.J. Abrams.
His first big Hollywood production.
It was. It really launched his career as a Hollywood director.
Fourth, Brad Bird. Again, different, and having come out of really Incredibles land, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then fifth and sixth being Chris McQuarrie, whom I adore simply because he wrote The Usual Suspects. And isn't it interesting? Clearly they, or whoever they are, feel that he acquitted himself so well with Rogue Nation that they were going to give him a second go. And I'd be interested to see whether they do give him the 7th Mission Impossible, or whether there's some new sort of...
Well, it reminds me of the Alien series and the kind of caliber of directors that have been through that series, and each film has sort of had someone at the start of their career. I mean, John Woo, not, and Brian De Palma not, but still, people who are sort of up and coming. Also, we talked in our group chat about the Harry Potter films and how that's a similar series as well. And David Yates.
Yeah, until he came on board, it was like a fresh new vision every single movie, basically.
Yeah, and David Yates sort of has seen it home, and now he's taken on board the new the Fantastic Beasts series. Yeah. It'd be interesting to see. And I Tom Cruise has been quoted as saying, "Look, if people like this movie, we'll keep making them." And as someone who I loved the first film as a kid. Like, that was just such a big part of my childhood.
Yeah.
And then I've sort of lost touch with them over the years. And to go back and watch this new one and just really enjoy it, I was like, I could carry on watching these movies.
Yeah, absolutely. So they've definitely moved with their time, which is good. I do feel that Mission Impossible 2, I do feel that John Woo got away with putting a lot of his sort of features, his style, his MO into that film, and he got away with it.
His MO and MI.
Yeah, that's right. But otherwise, there's a really nice consistency, isn't there, in terms of the story? And a lot of people have been saying, the Mission Impossible films now seem, if they didn't before, like a very real, similar to the Bond movies, which has all the features of a Bond film, that even though you're giving it to different directors, there are things that are immutable throughout. And Mission Impossible is good with that consistency.
I love the title sequence. I'd forgotten that trope when I was... And just the fact you see the whole film in a few minutes is such a great tradition. As opposed to Bond. I mean, I love the Bond tradition with the various abstract images and, but it's pretty sexist with the naked woman and the sexy woman, and they've tried to sort of subvert that. But at the heart of it, I think at the heart of James Bond, it's quite a sexist sort of idea. And one of the things that struck me, because I definitely thought the same thing with this new film, was like, it is similar. It's like the American James Bond. But the representation of women is so much better in these Mission Impossible films. And you've got some really great female characters through this movie. They're not the butt of the jokes. They're not there just for sex. And
they're not quite just the victim to be saved. So we'll get on to that. I reckon we need to start, though, at Top Gun before we start talking about the representation of women.
Oh, my word.
So...
Top Gun.
I mean...
We're like looking at William.
Okay. Jeremy, you and I have never seen Top Gun before,
and it came out the year we were born.
Yeah.
So William and I were both born the same year as Top Gun.
So you watching it just now is your first time?
Yep.
And this is with
awkward.
all the cultural baggage and, all the parodies and this and that.
Yes.
And watching it, to me, like, everything starts making sense, right? Have you guys seen MacGruber?
No, but it's the
SNL
it's
movie.
the mock
Will
on
Forte.
MacGyver, right?
Yes. And a lot of it's a parody of Rambo, but there's a lot of Top Gun in it as well. And you start picking up, oh my gosh, this is where the music cue stuff comes in. And oh man, you guys, the music cues in this movie are terrible.
They are so on the nose,
and they're so abrupt.
Yeah.
Even the start, 'cause it's like this like this Chariots of Fire almost kind of vibe, and then
We were sitting on the couch, looking at each other saying, good Lord, Kenny Loggins got his... or they got their money's worth out of Kenny Loggins, didn't they, for this one? Because they used that same song, or at very least, the motif from
and he also has that...
5 times.
He has more than one song, right? The Playing with the Boys is also Kenny Loggins.
Just some of the stuff that I'm like, this is so unself-aware.
Yeah.
Like the fact it's called Maverick, I was just like...
Yeah.
I actually had to Google and see, did Maverick come from this movie? No, it didn't. Oh my gosh, they called their main character Maverick. Like,
so because he is one.
Oh.
That's right, just in case we didn't get that. I mean... But here's what we've got to know, right? This is the thing that's so interesting. You guys are watching it, as you say, William, watching it and realising where everything has come from that you've seen subsequently. So things like the minute that he says, I served... He doesn't do it in that accent. What am I thinking? I served with your dad. And we're all like, for crying out loud, we've seen that 32 times. Yeah. But back then, maybe we hadn't quite seen it 32 times. And I have to give Tony Scott a little bit of credit for the fact that, bang into the representation of women thing here, Kelly McGillis for 1986 is a reasonably progressive female character. And I'll tell you how. She wears jackets with shoulder pads, which shows that she's powerful. She is superior to him and knows far more about science and flight and aircraft than any of these hotshots. And she tries reasonably hard at the beginning not to fall for him.
Especially when he follows her into the toilet.
I know. I was like, oh, no, don't go there.
It's so cringy. But I think where it goes a little bit wrong is, and also, to be fair, her skirt, albeit pencil thin and therefore hugging curves, is knee length. But I think the thing that then undoes that is the fact that she's wearing these gorgeous little high-heeled shoes, and she's wearing beautiful pantyhose with the seam down the back, which to me shriek Parisian prostitute, you know, of the olden days. Or, you know what I mean? I mean, there's a real sort of connotation to those lovely pantyhose.
And that she's followed at all times by a wind machine crew.
Yes, that's true. But it's interesting that she's a little older, and she's not a classic beauty, so she has gumption rather than, you know, I mean, this is the era of Daryl Hannah playing a mermaid who needs to be saved and therefore needs to be half naked and all that sort of thing, you know. And so Kelly McGillis, basically, she just wears a t-shirt and a leather jacket. If you're observant, you'll notice she never wears a bra under that t-shirt. I have a massive issue with that because, you know, she's a grown woman who should be wearing a bra, and I worry about that 1980s or indeed 60s and 70s sort of thing where, you know.
I mean, in terms of representation, one of the things that did strike me, and I guess, you know, we talked a little bit about Tarantino's theory of Iceman and Maverick. You know, it's actually a love story between them. But the male sexuality is all on show. Like, it is a celebration of masculinity or a certain form of it. I mean, they're all like half naked most of the time.
When they're playing volleyball, they're glistening.
Glistening bodies.
Yeah. Slapping each other.
Yeah, it's really quite fascinating.
No, apart from Goose, I guess he has a dad bod, so he gets to wear a t-shirt, and everyone else is super cut.
Yeah.
And he's in this really. Meg Ryan was a surprise. I didn't see
isn't
her.
she delightful?
She's fantastic.
Yeah, she is fantastic.
And I actually went and looked at her career, because her career just died in the early 2000s. She's not really done anything.
But I think Top Gun, obviously, because it's a supporting role, that was before she became the massive Meg Ryan, isn't it? But that will have launched her.
Really great, eh? It's like one of those early roles of, say, Jennifer Lawrence's or your whoever that sort of pop up on the Amy Adams. You know, you see them in those movies with a supporting role, and then you go, oh, you're going to be going to do great things. Yeah. But yeah, just really fascinating, the whole representation of masculinity.
And the homoerotica, sort of?
Really, I mean, it's pretty much there.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's even subtext. I mean, so many scenes of showers, of locker rooms. And then in every single locker room scene, you got to have one character, as you guys say, glistening. Yeah. With just a tiny little towel around.
Yeah, that's true.
And just the scenes with Val Kilmer coming up to Tom Cruise. I mean, it's not clear that it's always animosity. Like I was like, oh, he's really kind of, he's smiling at him, he's flirting with him.
Well, of course, the closing line is, you can be my wingman anytime.
Yeah.
Well, I actually just read that on a literal level, and I understand what a wingman is, and this is a flight movie. But my husband was like, no, I don't think so. You know, so
it's interesting, eh? And I think at the time of the 80s, in terms of homosexual representation, most people would not have even considered that. But now, looking at through our lens, it's like, my gosh, if you made that today, you know...
Interestingly, there isn't very much... You're so right. There's a lot of, I suppose it would be, female gaze in that movie, which is quite unusual. Because there isn't very much male gaze of the female characters.
No.
There's that one... introduction. So he obviously meets Kelly McGillis's character in the bar, but then when she walks into the flight briefing, the camera follows her from behind, and we get the gist that it's probably her, and that's when we see the legs with the pantyhose, and then there's the reveal of, oh crikey, it's the girl from the bar. But other than that, there aren't lingering shots all over her, but there are a lot more. All the photography is about the men. Actually, the film is it's so, never mind sexist, it's just so male.
That's what I thought. I mean, even that thing you read before, William, it's like, the men.
Oh, it's obsessed with men.
Yeah. It really is.
Fathers, friends, just male relationships throughout.
Yes, it is.
It's really, I have to be honest, I was so bored. I didn't want to watch the film. I watched it because we were doing this, and I just every time a dog fight came on, I was like, I don't know what's going on. I just skipped through it. On my computer when I was watching it, you can skip forward 3-second bursts, so it's like dum 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 dum, and it's like, oh, they're still fighting in the sky. I mean, the fact at the end that they fight some enemy, they never named the enemy.
Oh no, that's right.
Oh, amazing! And what's the point of that ending? What is the point? So that they graduate from Flight Academy, and it's like, oh wait, there's some bad guys. 20 minutes, yeah,
But
done.
it's to redeem. I don't even know what Maverick.
Maverick, yeah.
It's to redeem Maverick's.
Reputation.
Well, also for his choice to leave, isn't it? Because he feels that he's let everybody down.
But does he leave
Well,
or does he graduate?
They let him graduate, but then
Do we
I
care?
don't know. And also, I'll tell you what else is weird about that is that Tim Robbins is suddenly
As
in
Merlin.
there, and he's suddenly yes, but I mean he's Merlin at the beginning, but he doesn't get into Top Gun at the beginning because it's not his film. But
Oh,
then
that's
he's
right.
in Top Gun at the end, and it's like, why did we never hear that this
I
guy
didn't even notice
came
it was
up?
Tim Robbins at the start.
Wow. Oh yeah, Tim Robbins.
Because I saw, I knew when I was looking on my phone halfway through the film, I was like, Tim Robbins in this movie? What? And then he turns up at the end, I was like, oh, that's a small part.
No. He's in the beginning. He's in the back of the
guy
plane.
who bails.
The guy who.
Ah,
Yeah.
right.
Is that Cougar?
No, oh, maybe it is.
Wouldn't have been on the nose of Charlie, which is the I now
called
realise
Cougar.
was called Cougar.
Even her name's male.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. But in a sexy way. In a sexy white t-shirt with no bra way.
Talking about in a sexy way, I was telling my colleagues about how awkward that sex scene is in the film, and how so it's all
it's
filmed
all
in.
tongue and spit.
I know. So it's all filmed in silhouette, and I can just hear Tony Scott going, "Right, guys, we're going to film this in silhouette. We need to show that it's sexy, so you got to use a lot of tongue, so we can see the tongue in the silhouette."
Oh.
And it's just them licking each other.
Yeah. But that's very 80s. And I was around then watching a lot of those movies. It was kind of an education for me, and there was a lot of silhouetted slobbering.
So much gauze, so much.
But that was okay in those days.
Oh my word!
And of course, I mean the music key to that.
They never really used the song.
No, until the sex scene. But before, like, it was the Kelly McGinnis's, like, thing, right? Her leitmotif.
Yeah.
But you just hear snippets of it, and it's so inelegant how they cut in and cut out. It's like, take my breath away, and then cut the next thing.
Maybe it was a joke. Maybe the editor was like, take my breath Oh, that's funny.
But I tell you what is clear and bursting off the screen is Tom Cruise's charisma.
Yeah.
His dialogue's so terrible, but he just pretty much just has his little smile, his little looks.
Yeah.
And he's so charismatic.
He's
isn't he?
24 when in Top Gun. He's in real life. He's 24, and but the only thing I noticed is he's got that winning smile, but his smile is different now.
Yeah, he got braces in the early 2000s.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Because his smile is that same kind of almost disingenuous Tom Cruise smile that we see all the time, but it is ever so slightly different. So I was kind of interested, but not enough to watch all of his movies in order to see when that smile changed.
His teeth are still like that in Mission Impossible 1. And then I know that around 2000 he had braces for a time. I remember him being in the Oscars ceremony with braces.
Good Lord.
Wow. Yeah, it was quite interesting. So he definitely has beautiful teeth now.
Well, I didn't know.
Then
It wasn't so much that the teeth were funny. It wasn't that I was going, oh, they're wonky. It was just sort of the shape of the smile looks different. But of course, you change your teeth's going to do that, isn't it?
Maybe he has had some work done to his face as well.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, okay, let's talk about Mission Impossible Fallout. He looks incredible.
Yeah.
For
56?
My gosh, he's been in this game for, 30 years?
Yeah.
His first one was 1981, so 35 years he's been doing this. And we all know that he broke his foot on the jump and stuff, and when he's hanging under the helicopter, I'm like, he's actually hanging under the helicopter,
yes.
you know?
And they
incredible.
actually use the shot where he breaks the foot, and oh my gosh.
And
he
he
just
off.
limps away, and that's in the movie.
It's really
And he's,
impressive.
I mean, I've been talking about this with colleagues, and we all say, think what you like about Tom Cruise, Scientology, wives, whatever, possibly gay, closeted, la la la. He is committed, and I have a lot of respect for him as a true film star.
And people talk a lot, other actors have talked a lot, because, I'm really quite vocal about the whole Scientology thing, having watched Leah Remini's fantastic documentary and just how toxic that whole organisation is. And how toxic Tom Cruise's treatment is. But people who act with him often talk about how generous he is and how lovely he is. And he's just a wonderful person to work with.
Yeah.
Kirsten Dunst still gets a cake every year since they did
Interview with the Vampire.
He just has one delivered to her every year for her birthday. You know? And she was a child, and now she's... she's
So it is tricky, isn't it? Because he's utterly professional, courteous, gracious to work with, and all the things that we hear.
And willing to die for our entertainment.
And that's right.
Far out, wanted to break a foot.
So you know about the helicopter training that... and I can't remember the figures, but it's something extraordinary, like you are supposed to train for 18 months, but he had to cram it into 4 months or something.
And then he trained for a year for that, I think.
Right.
Overall.
And did 16-hour days instead of... You know, in order to train, so that he could fly those helicopters.
The backstory to all of that is fascinating, because I think it just goes to show why he's working with Chris McQuarrie again, because I think Chris McQuarrie is just someone who gets that kind of thing. So from a lot of the behind the scenes stuff, they wanted a big helicopter stunt for the end of the movie. They wanted Tom to pilot his own helicopter, and for the audience to know that he's piloting his own helicopter, hence all the cameras around the cockpit.
Yeah.
And so they're saying, okay, so in which country can we actually do this legally? And New Zealand was one of the countries. Okay, let's go to New Zealand. But New Zealand is not, I mean, you guys should know, we all live in New Zealand. It's not very... spy stuffy. There's not very much intrigue in New Zealand.
In our scenery and whatnot.
And so,
or in our towns. No, that's true.
What country looks kind of like South Island New Zealand? Oh, Kashmir is kind of like New Zealand. Okay, so what do we need to do to get our characters to Kashmir by the end of this movie? And so apparently they built this whole film backwards from what stunts we want to do.
Wow.
And that's...
You mean narratively?
Yeah, that is crazy. Just absolutely crazy. And then to somehow piece it together so it makes, mostly narrative sense.
Yeah.
It's genius.
Yeah.
I mean, I love the... I was sort of chuckling to myself at the start because you have that introduction, and then you've got the exposition. It just genuinely is exposition of the all the stuff about plutonium, and I was like, all right, I'll go with it. And then the story is not what you're watching this movie for. It's all pretty much basic by the numbers. I haven't seen the last two films, so I wasn't familiar with who these characters were. I vaguely remember Tom Cruise's partner from the third film.
Michelle Monaghan.
But it doesn't really matter. I sort of followed along.
But the nice thing is Fallout tells you, because Ving Rhames has to explain to Rebecca Ferguson about the ex-wife. Yeah. And I actually found that scene really touching. And I have to say, and we're leaping ahead a little, but my goodness, what you said, Jeremy, just before about the exposition at the beginning of Fallout, I was like, oh my gosh, really? People are saying this is an amazing film, but so far, so lame. So far, so De Palma 1992 or whatever it was, right, the first one. And then it picks up and it never stops. Blah, 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 blah. Then we get to Kashmir. And the reveal of Michelle Monaghan being there, and I feel as though that scene is handled so beautifully, and I was completely with it. And then what happens subsequently with her saying to him, I am so happy, and I'm in the right place, and my life has gone exactly right, and all that. I just thought, oh my gosh, that's such beautiful writing.
Yeah.
That she isn't going to continue to be the long-lost love, and she wishes she was with him, but she can't be. And you even get that notion at the end that her new husband, played bizarrely by Wes Bentley.
I know.
I saw his name in the credits at the beginning, and I completely forgot he was in the movie.
I was like, oh, he's
a very strange choice.
Maybe he's going to come back into it.
Well, it's odd because he looks like
a secret baddie,
but he
looks like Tom Cruise.
But it's just odd. But anyway, at the very end, when Wes Bentley's like, your friend arrived to save you, and you get that sense that he knows you're obviously Secret Service or spy or some kind of special. So I just thought the Michelle Monaghan character bit was beautifully handled, and it opens it up for him to be with Rebecca Ferguson. And
I mean, that moment where they first meet and he realizes, Tom Cruise's character, Ethan Hunt, realizes what's going on.
Yeah.
She starts to realize that something's going on.
Yeah, it's so good.
And they're just trying to keep it normal because she doesn't want to bring the husband into it. It's a really
She says he's here on holiday, and he says, no, I'm here for work.
Yeah.
And it's like all these lovely silent signals to her that if I'm here for work, you're screwed.
Yeah. Really, really fantastic. I tell you what, the cast in Mission Impossible Fallout, really well played, really well put together, except for Henry Cavill.
I love him.
He is bad.
He is. How can he be bad?
He is so bad.
I just want to say, You guys are absolutely right in that there's a lot of exposition in this movie. I think, I don't know, more so than the other movies. It just feels that way because it feels like they're trying to really tie together Mission Impossibles 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
There's a lot of callback to all the movies.
To every single one, even to Mission Impossible 2 for Pete's sake. Sorry,
I didn't hear them say "Where are the doves?"
No, at the very end. At the very end,
about the woman.
No, at the very end when Tom Cruise and Henry Cavill are fighting on the cliff face.
Yes.
Oh yes.
And then I was thinking, oh man, Henry Cavill is screwed because this guy does this stuff for fun.
Yeah. And also, Ving Rhames says, there are only ever 2 women in his life, and that's, I think, reference to the girl that he liked in Mission Impossible 2.
Naya, the
is it? Yeah.
So.
Tandy Newton's character.
Yeah.
I thought he meant... No, I thought when he said that, he means there have only been 2 women in his life, and one is his ex-wife, Michelle Monaghan, and the other one is you.
Yeah, I thought that as well, but then the way he talks about it is there's like a coda, I think, that...
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know.
I thought they just completely ignored that.
I did too. I thought they'd gone, we'll just move on.
But Henry Cavill, I mean... I had to turn off Our Man from U.N.C.L.E. because I was just like, what is this guy doing?
That was a lot of fun, Jeremy.
Film.
He's just such a bad actor. He's so bad, and I hate Man of Steel, as you know. He's supposed to be sort of rough around the edges in this movie, a bit smarmy, and he was struggling to get that dialogue out of his face hole.
What I was trying to say about exposition is when anyone else is delivering exposition, anyone in the movie, it's like, okay, yeah, whatevs. But when Henry Cavill is delivering exposition, they are just clunkers, like one after the other. When they're about to do the halo jump and they're talking in the plane, and he's just like, blah, 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 blah. Like, oh jeez, make him stop.
Oh, I didn't notice any of this. Maybe this is
you're blinded by Henry Cavill's
Maybe
face.
I am, because I have to say, he's quite handsome. I liked him being a blunt tool. I didn't think he was rough around the edges, but I loved the way, albeit it was Angela Bassett, wasn't it, who says, you've got a scalpel, I prefer a hammer. But I loved that characterization of these 2 physically quite different characters. I thought that was neat. And I also loved how everyone in the film is completely derisory, if that's the word, towards him, because he does he goes, and by the way, what is his name in the film anyway?
I don't know.
Just say it's Brad. I don't know. He goes, by the way, I'm Brad Walker. And Rebecca Ferguson says, you're welcome, and ignores him. And so she's not beguiled by him. And then a little bit later on, he tries to introduce himself again, or to sort of say, what about me? And Simon, that's right. He says, they're packed into the back of the Mercedes. And there's these 3 men. There's Ving Rhames, and there's Henry Cavill, and there's Simon Pegg. And Henry Cavill's been involved in all this thing and sort of tries to say, by the way, I'm so-and-so. And Simon Pegg says, was it you who hired the small car? Or something. And they're all just like cutting him down all the time.
Even at the very, very end when he's revealed to be one of the main baddies. And the whole helicopter chase, it begins with Tom Cruise just going, prick.
Yeah, that's right.
I get the character, but I just
didn't enjoy him.
Just he's
really physical. I like that. The
Yeah.
bathroom fight is
bathroom
amazing.
fight.
It's great.
It is wonderful, isn't it?
Yes.
It's one of the coolest fights.
Yeah.
And I saw that in the trailer. There's 3 people fighting, and I'm like, oh, well, I wonder what the makeup of this is. And then to know when those 2 guys are going in together, I'm like, oh, they're going to fight that guy together.
Oh,
This
yeah.
is really cool.
It's so great. I actually saw Mission Impossible Fallout twice, both times in IMAX, and it's just as rewarding the second time, even though you know everything that's going to happen. Super fun. I'd see it a third. I tell you who else I loved, Vanessa Kirby. Now, she played Princess Margaret in The Crown, and she was as haughty and as self-absorbed and as unroyal as you can imagine. And she was brilliant in The Crown, and I'm so stoked that they cast her in Mission Impossible. And she plays the White Widow, who's the sort of the negotiator.
She's the daughter of
Max.
You
Yeah.
just said Max.
I didn't realise that.
So cool.
I didn't realise that
picked it
till
up
the
as well,
second
straight away.
screening, actually.
I picked it up
It was
straight
only-
away. She said Max because she looks like her as well. And I actually thought, is she a computer generation? That's what I actually thought. I was like, has she been computer generatedly created to
look like Vanessa Redgrave.
To look like Vanessa Redgrave.
But that was a wonderful throwback to the first... No, to the
First one,
film. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So I thought Vanessa Kirby was wonderful. Notwithstanding, she's absolutely gorgeous to look at, but she does beautiful things very subtly with her face to sort of show, I find you quite attractive despite the fact that you kill women and children, Ethan Hunt. But yeah,
and they're setting her up.
Glorious.
They're setting her up as a future character. They can always
Fantastic.
come back to her. And I really, as impressive as the bathroom scene was, and it was, I equally loved the scene with the assassins coming at them in the casino.
That felt really James Bond to me.
It was really.
Yeah.
I thought it was really well choreographed.
Yeah.
There was some really cool little tricks and the stabbing and just the way that the different people who we're on side with, kill someone and then quickly walk away.
Yeah.
It's really
and quite
impressive.
balletic as well. It was a lovely choreography, and then they'd turn and they'd move off two steps, and then he'd turn and stab, and then flip over a table. And
it also is really cool that Vanessa Kirby's she's getting into these movies now because she's just been cast as Jason Statham's sister in the Fast and Furious spin-off.
so you say good thing,
right.
and I say, Jason Statham. Jason Statham spin-off.
So they are both Helen Mirren's kids. And it's this crime family that's been building since Fast and Furious
fun.
6.
Oh, okay, that's
and
a
so
fun
it's
conceit.
Mama Mirren, and then Jason Statham is the older brother, and Vanessa Kirby is the younger sister.
Nice.
And they're all Cockney, gangsters.
Is Helen Mirren in one of the Fast and Furious films?
She's in 8, yes.
Has that come out yet?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Oh, is she Jason Statham's mum in number 8? I didn't
Is that a
remember
connection to Red?
Oh my gosh, that'd be incredible.
She plays a character in Red.
There's a Venn diagram waiting to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
launching whatever she is.
Well, that sounds quite fun then, because Vanessa Kirby does do acting with her face, and even so, therefore, if Jason Statham doesn't, it doesn't matter. It means somebody is portraying a character in a film, so that's marvelous.
Oh, that's really funny.
That's wonderful. Hey, I did pick up on a few similarities. We always like to make connections between the two films in discussion, and so I mean, it's pretty obvious action hero kind of stuff. But of course, Maverick. You might not have picked this up, despite his name, but he's a bit of a rule breaker. Maverick?
Are you saying, Sarah, that he's a loose cannon that plays by no one's rules but his own?
So he breaks the rules to save Cougar, and then, of course, Ethan Hunt breaks the rules to save Ving Rhames. Bizarrely, Alec Baldwin, in one of the nicer portrayals I've ever seen him do, says, you'd made the right decision, which is kind of weird, because normally in the Mission Impossible movies, everyone's saying, Ethan, you're a bad guy. But in this one, you've only got Henry Cavill saying to Angela Bassett, I think he's the baddie. And everyone else is like, Ethan can do no wrong. So that's a little bit unusual, but I didn't mind. So Maverick has broken rules in the past and been rogue, but also genius, as had Ethan, because of course Ethan went rogue in Rogue Nation, obviously. The trick is in the title.
These subtleties are just really impressive.
You'll be glad you listened to this podcast, listeners, because you might not have picked these up for yourselves. They both ride motorbikes.
Oh, yes.
Fast, hunched over, big motorbikes.
Without helmets, so you can see Tom Cruise's face.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, so the Paris motorbike scenes in Mission Impossible Fallout are also, as far, I mean, I thought that I was inured to car chases and motorbike chases, but oh my gosh, it is absolutely heart-pounding. Despite the fact that I'd seen it before, I still went at the moment where he flips over the car. Or no, it's actually, I make that... I have that response when he turns to look behind him and we see the car pull in front of him and he goes over it. So even though I'd seen it before, so that was incredibly
Have you guys
powerful.
seen the B-roll footage for Mission Impossible?
No.
It's so cool. I mean, how they film a dangerous motorbike scene is they just get Tom Cruise to ride really fast on the motorbike. It's crazy. And then, of course, all the camera crew are on motorbikes as well, and the cameras are all motorbike mounted.
Oh my
And so that's how they can do the weaving and
Are all the cars there? Like, that's the one thing I was thinking.
Yeah,
Are
or do
all
they
the cars
CG?
actually there, or are they at the cars?
It seems like at least around the Arc de Triomphe, all the cars were there.
Oh
But
my god, around the Arc de
They
Triomphe
closed
was-
down that roundabout for was it 2 hours early in the morning to film that?
And so they got the cars sticking to, very closely
Yes.
sticking to, oh, that
And
was
going against traffic.
absolutely horrific. It was horrific.
It's like that scene in the second Matrix film where they are that really long highway sequence when they're driving with the traffic, and I love that moment when then they turn around and then they're driving against the traffic. It's quite a cool set piece, and it was similar to that. And it's really, I agree with you. Really heart racing. It's such a well put together scene, and I love the setup. How you get the vision. You get Ethan's vision of what's going to happen, that he's going to be in a situation where he has to murder a policeman, and then you get And so you know that's not going to happen. And so it's like, what's going to happen? Like,
Yeah.
it's really quite exciting as an audience member to not know.
But also it's nice to see that because that scene doesn't exactly pan out that way.
Yeah.
So you kind of get all the goods, don't you? You
And
get
when they show that scene, like without music,
it's
without music, right? Or without
I think
dialogue?
it's with music, but without without sound and without dialogue, and it's beautiful.
Yeah, and I don't know about you guys, but I thought that was actually what was happening
Yeah, same.
until they cut.
Yeah.
Yeah, really nice surprise.
But it was also, even if it had gone on being how it happened, it was a lovely way to just break up all of the and all that stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, it felt
really
very,
gorgeous.
very Dark Knight. It really reminded me of that film. And so it made me think, man, Dark Knight has had a massive impact on film.
Yes.
Like, just the whole look and feel and pacing and...
Yeah.
Yeah.
As a side...
the big sorry Sarah, the big chase scene where the Joker's escaping and all that stuff. Yeah,
Yeah. And just
The
the shots
low-whacker.
of cars on the side of trucks and...
yeah.
Yeah.
As a side issue, I last night saw a little movie called 2001: A Space Odyssey.
I've heard of this movie.
I tell you what, that film must have been influenced by Inception. There are some quite stunning moves of the whole room, the whole building moving with the people inside. Very cleverly done. They must have got that off Chris Nolan.
Yeah.
Anyway, so...
And then you can tell Interstellar's his 2001, eh? There's lots of that sort of stuff.
Yep.
It's just it's a shame that movie's so long. Not 2001. I love 2001.
yeah.
Interstellar.
So, obviously Top Gun, the men's arrogance is actually cringy nowadays. And that's not even in a post or in a, what are we in Me Too movement sort of way. I think it's just we're well into the 21st century and it's like,
There's nothing very redeemable about many of those characters and the way that they behave and how it's seen as being this great paragon of...
Oh,
So
Anthony
we break it
Edwards
down-
doesn't cheat on his wife.
Yeah, Goose.
Goose doesn't, is not a
and
cheater.
he dies for his efforts.
So there you go. So that's all you need.
But yeah, I don't know. It's just a really weird little microcosm of this flight school, and everyone's like so gung ho and masculinity oozing out their pores. I don't know. I mean, Jeremy, you said you weren't such a fan of the action sequences, like the
In Top Gun?
dogfights in Top Gun.
Yeah.
What about you, Sarah?
I enjoyed all of the up in the air
'Cause
scenes.
I was thinking, like, what would people think about this in the 80s? And maybe it was thrilling to see
It was utterly thrilling.
like half an hour of footage
I know.
of planes dogfighting.
To be fair, at the very beginning, you know how at the very beginning at Top Gun, I do think it's a little bit unusual that there is extended footage of planes, what's it called? Launching? What's it called?
From an
Going
aircraft
up,
carrier.
coming down,
Taking
going
off.
up, taking off is the word I'm looking for. Extended, and it's all, yep, we get it. Yep, oh, there's a sunset. Yes, it's a beautiful shot. Shall we move into the story now? And it feels very much like this is a movie for boys. Fine, I can accept
A lot of
that.
shots of flight crew and engineers waving their arms like, let's
Yeah.
go!
That's
let's
right.
go!
Doing the fist pump
But
and
it gives
stuff.
it a real authenticity. It makes you think, oh my gosh, he must have gone to an actual aircraft carrier and taken it over and used actual people to shoot those scenes. And I haven't looked into whether that's the case or not, but it feels like somebody in the 80s going, you know what, we're going to do this for real. And then we're going to interpose Tom Cruise into it. But no, I enjoyed all of those scenes. And even though they're nowadays, of course, when they're shot front on and you've got the person in the cockpit going, oh no, it all feels a little bit like starfighters in Star Wars.
Yeah.
But what else are you going to do, I suppose?
Yeah, it does. I mean, it is really, really impressive. I mean, obviously the stunt flying looks really dangerous. And there are times where the planes get mighty close to each other. It's like, oh, what's going to happen if they do crash? And then, of course, the MiGs. Man, that was so fascinating. How you just have this hidden Russian menace, or Soviet menace, back in
Who's
the day.
never called Russian, Soviet, or anything.
no.
It's extraordinary.
They just call them MiGs.
Yeah.
I think the thing is, I'm just not a vehicle person, so like any sort of car movies.
So you're
or
not Fast and
planes,
Furious. You're not a Fast
I've
and
never seen any of them.
Furious.
That's why I've never watched them, because I don't like car.
Yeah.
I like a good car chase if it's
Sure.
like I love Death Proof. I love
Or if it's a Bourne movie and he's just jumped in an old Ford Cortina or something like that, and it's all rickety down streets in Serbia or something.
I love a good chase sequence, but I'm not a gearhead in any sense. I don't care about actual cars. Like I don't care what the make is. It could be any vehicle. But all that plane sort of, I don't know. It's just plane worship. I just was like, I don't care.
I would say I don't know. Check out the Fast and Furious movies. They're really the great thing about them is they're really physical, and a lot of the stunts are actually jumping cars off stuff. So it has this authenticity about it, which I think Top Gun has as well, as you say, Sarah. That modern CGI just can't quite replicate.
Which is, I mean, that's what makes their new Mission Impossible film so impressive as well.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
It's really impressive.
It feels very in camera, doesn't it?
There's
Which
nothing
is a
really that felt
refreshing
too
change.
CGI.
No.
It was
The one thing,
real.
which is the storm when they halo jump, I thought that was really dumb.
What's halo jumping?
The high altitude, low.
Man.
It's like
But they did that for real, though, didn't they?
Yeah, they did that for real, and it's super impressive. So why do you have to add in this like really crappy CGI storm in it?
Oh, right.
I don't know. To me, that was the only wrong note that it really struck in terms of special effects.
It still it felt to me real enough that it worked for me. But I do know what you mean. It looked a little funny, but it felt real.
Because if you look at how they filmed it, it's just, once again, a whole bunch of cameramen jumping out of a plane in front of Tom Cruise jumping out of a plane. And they just did that again and again and again. And they also chose to film it at that twilight hour with that lighting. So apparently,
it's beautiful.
Every day they could only take like one take.
Wow.
Just because the lighting would be really off.
Wow.
Man. Just that's impressive, eh?
Yeah.
And I'm so glad, and I think I wrote this in my review, I'm so glad that the actual storyline holds up to those stunts.
Yes.
That they actually were able, I guess we were talking about constructing it from that action sequence. It works.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the best Mission Impossible film I've seen, and I haven't seen two of them, but, and I love that first one, but it's a really well put together film.
4 and 5 are terrific.
Yeah, they're amazing.
And Ghost Protocol, which is number 4, going to Dubai, and again, incredible stunts there as well. It's pretty rad. But I really liked for this one, Fallout, I liked how they used Paris just exquisitely, and it didn't feel tired, because we saw a lot of Paris in Inception, funnily enough, and a lot of Bourne movies go all around Europe and whatnot, and of course Bond does, although I don't know if he's been to Paris, can't remember off the top of my head, but it felt fresh and new and wonderful, and London did as well, and I actually quite liked how they really stuck to massive Paris scene, massive London scene, and then this strange land of Kashmir, South Island, New Zealand. But I liked how they spent a lot of time in that space as well. And
Was it actually filmed in New Zealand?
Yes. Milford Sound.
all of that helicopter
Yeah.
business is like legit.
You can see the Bridal Veils Falls when Tom Cruise does
click.
it.
And used New Zealand, obviously New Zealand crew, but
Yeah.
also New Zealand. There's this wonderful article on Stuff, actually, with the bloke who hires out the helicopters and says how down-to-earth Tom Cruise was and how great to work with, and how he was the safety coordinator and the pilot-y consultant and that sort of thing.
Ah, sweet.
Yeah.
Well, talking about place, one of the things I did feel on Top Gun, I don't even know where it was set, but like when they're sitting, when him and the Charlie character are sort of sitting in her outdoor seating area, and he arrives on his motorbike, and it's all sort of sun drenched.
Yeah.
I was like, oh man, that looks so nice. Like, just looks so beautiful and relaxing, and everyone's sort of slightly sweaty all the time, which tells me it's warm. And like when they're playing the piano in that bar, and I don't know, the whole sort of party atmosphere of that film actually was quite interesting to me.
San Diego.
Oh, there you go. San Diego.
So that's why.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was nice, and it did feel all warm.
Yeah, and they talk about taking showers all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, that's actually a plot point, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
I gotta go. I gotta take a shower. Can I take a shower at your place? No? Okay, I gotta go.
Oh my word.
And speaking of London, Sarah, because I just come back from London a couple months ago from a teachers' conference, and I basically walked around where Tom Cruise was, and you see St. Paul's, and he's on the rooftops, and it's super cool. And you kind of see the Tate Modern in the distance, and I was like, oh, I went to the Tate Modern. It's a really, really cool piece of architecture.
Yeah.
He ends up running on top of bridges, and the Tate Modern, like, he perches on the top of it, and it's crazy.
Oh, it is crazy.
That is impressive.
And you
How
can't
did they
see
do that?
wires
How
or
did they do that?
anything. It's so frightening, isn't it? Because there's no barrier, and it's not a very big space at the top of that chimney.
It's very rare to have a film these days that has actual movie magic, like where you don't know how it's done. And I think CGI really does. It really takes away a lot of that.
Yeah,
You know it's CGI.
Or you can just assume that it's easily created somewhere on a computer, therefore it ain't no thing.
Yeah.
And I think it's really great. Going back to Tom Cruise, kind of to finish off, he he's someone that's really, really. There's a narcissism to him, but I mean that's for the audience's benefit.
Yeah.
Like if you watch so much of the behind the scenes stuff, it's always, can the audience tell that it's actually me doing the stunt? Is my helmet see-through so you can see my face? And because of that, like you can, and you have this extra sense of just authenticity, as you guys were saying. And it's wonderful. It's this kind of action star, except almost a relationship with the audience. Like he's willing to put his life in actual danger for your entertainment. And he's willing to do so at the age of 55, 56, which is... Yeah, that's why we go through
I
these
agree
movies,
with you. I think that's a really nice distinction between his just wanting people to know I did my own stunts so that they're impressed with me. I think you're absolutely right. I do believe he is so committed to the craft and the outcome, the output, and this is why he's producer or executive producer on so many things, that I agree with you. I think he deserves a lot of credit for wanting to make the best film and the best cinema-going experience possible. Absolutely.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Cinema in Context. If you enjoyed our podcast, then please share it with your film-loving friends. You can listen to Cinema in Context through SoundCloud or through Apple Podcasts. You can also follow us on Facebook or subscribe to us on Twitter or YouTube. These are great places to let us know what you think of this episode or give us suggestions for future films to discuss and compare. Look out for our next episode in a month's time, and until then, ka kite anō.